Hi everyone, before we get started, I'd like to point you over to christianjohnsondrums.com for a free PDF download of every exercise I play in this video. You'll also notice that I've done full text transcriptions of this lesson as well as all my previous lessons so that you can follow along at your own pace. The link for this lesson is in the description below. Let's begin. Hey everyone, this is Christian and welcome to the Reading and Rhythm series. This video is about eighth note triplets, what they look like, what they sound like, and how to count them. So I started this video with the exercise that I wrote that features eighth note triplets, and you can get a copy of that exercise at my website, christianjohnsondrums.com. Not only that, it's part of a booklet called the Triplet Cheat Sheet, and it includes the exercises for all of the triplet videos that I'm going to be doing in this series. So if you get it now, you'll get a little sneak peek of what's to come. So let's get right into how to play and read triplets. Okay, up on the screen here, I have two measures of music. We're just going to focus on the first measure where there are 4 beats of eighth note triplets. We can cover up that second measure. We want to answer the question, what is a triplet? So a triplet is a 3-note subdivision. And it's not just any 3 notes. The notes are evenly spaced between beats. They are a subdivision of beats. And because we're talking about eighth notes here, we're talking about a subdivision of quarter notes. So those 2 beats that I'm talking about are quarter notes, and now we're splitting the time in between them into 3 even spaces, 3 even durations. So let's look at how the triplet is written. The first thing to notice is the number 3. That is key to knowing that this is a triplet. No 3, no triplet. It's crucial. You won't have a triplet without that number 3. Next thing you want to do is pay attention to the beaming, okay? And the beaming is that black bar at the top of all the notes. Most triplets have some sort of beaming or a bracket to show you the group of 3 notes. So it's very clear these 3 notes are together, and then the 3 tells you it's a triplet, okay? Eighth note triplets have 1 beam, just like their eighth note counterparts. That's how we know we're counting eighth note triplets and that they are a subdivision of quarter notes. All these things tie into each other. It can't be any other way. So let's get into counting by focusing now on the second measure. So when I count out loud, I use these syllables for triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. It's the number plus trip for the second note, let for the third note. Now in the measure I've written here, you can see I've shortened it for space. I put a T and an L. The L kind of looks like a 1 as well, but it's the number triplet. That's how the syllables line up with the rhythm. So let's play some triplets together, count out loud, keep the notes even. I'll put a metronome on. This is 75 BPM. And let's just clap some triplets together so you get an idea of how they sound and how they feel. Here we go. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 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 triplet. It's pretty good. Now, depending on your teacher or the method book you use, you might see other syllables. I've seen anda, 1 anda, 2 anda. I don't like using that one because we've already used anda when we count 16th note subdivisions, and I don't want there to be any confusion whether we're playing triplets or 16th notes. So triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet makes it very clear we're playing triplets and not 16th notes. Another one you might see is ta, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta. That's actually how it's written in that Joel Rothman book we've been using. I don't like that one so much because using the same syllable over and over again can also be confusing, especially if you're talking to another musician and trying to explain a specific rhythm. When you name the syllables the same thing, it makes it hard to distinguish what you're actually talking about. Ta has one advantage that I like, and that's that it's percussive. So 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta. So that will help you keep your rhythm accurate because it's short and crisp and percussive. So there's a benefit to that, but really, like I said, I like triplet just for communication purposes. Now, one thing you can do, however, to get used to the flow of triplets is to use three-syllable words like a mnemonic to help get the right flow happening. So I'm going to take this down a little slower because I'm out of breath. This is 70. Yeah, that's pretty good. So at 70, we're going to say these words. We have unicorn, Mexico, or blueberry. They're three-syllable words. I actually like these because they have a little bit of an accent or emphasis on the first syllable. Unicorn, unicorn, Mexico, Mexico, blueberry, blueberry. But the idea is that you get that nice round feeling. Triplets should feel round and flowy and kind of like they roll. So at 70, you would get something like this. Unicorn, 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 Mexico, 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 blueberry, 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 blueberry. And you can practice that. You don't have to play. Counting is very important when it comes to rhythm anyway, and this will help you internalize it. So next I have up that triplet exercise. Let's cut away and watch it again. This time I'll actually play it slower. In the intro I played it around 96 BPM. In this case we'll be playing it at, I believe it's 75. And I'll be counting out loud. So here we go. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3, 4. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2, 3, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3, 4. Okay, so let's talk now about eighth note rest, because where we have beats of sound, we will also have beats of silence. Now, it's important to note that we're using eighth note rests with a single flag because we're using eighth note triplets, or we're learning about eighth note triplets. So eighth note triplets means we're using eighth note rests, single flag. You'll notice too that there are brackets here for clarity, and that's because the rests aren't a part of the beaming. Okay, and that's, again, the composer is going to do everything they can to make sure it's very clear that you're playing triplets. It's either by beaming or bracketing, and in some cases, both. So let's work through these exercises or these measures together. I'm not going to play them a whole lot, but I'm going to count out loud, and you should do this too if you're playing along. Count out loud for that accuracy. Rhythmic accuracy is everything, and you really want to internalize the difference between eighth note triplets and the other subdivisions we've learned. So starting at the beginning, first line, first measure, we're not playing on the let. So we're playing the number and the trip in each of these. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Great. In the second measure, we're not playing the middle triplet. This is a very common rhythm across all music, so definitely get used to seeing it. Now, I've written it two different ways. In beats 1 and 2, there's no beam. It's basically 3 separate eighth notes, and you may see it that way sometimes. In beats 3 and 4, there's actually a beam between beats 1, the first beat of the triplet, and the let of the triplet, with the rest being in between. This is very common notation for this rhythm, and it's because, again, it makes it so clear that we're playing a triplet. It has a beam and a bracket. It's doubly sure that you are playing a triplet here. So this rhythm, again, very popular, very common, goes like this. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Awesome. The second measure, or I'm sorry, third measure. Third measure, we're not playing on the number. So again, also a little difficult because without the grounding beat, you have to place these subdivisions basically in between the beats. So I'll put a little foot tap there so we can hear it. Here we go. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Awesome. A little bit like a merry-go-round sort of thing, or a waltz. On the second line, we have 2 rests in each group. We're going to skip the first measure because it's like playing quarter notes. It's It's kind of no point to cover that. In the second measure, we're only going to play on the trip. 1 triplet, 2 triplet. So again, counting out loud for accuracy is huge here. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And in the final measure, we're playing only on the let. Again, count for accuracy. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, go triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Fantastic. So I want to take a quick step back and look at that second measure on the first line, because there's actually a third way to write this. And it's meant to make things a little easier to read, because music, the more clarity you can get in your music, the better, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a quarter note substitution here. We're going to put a quarter note on the first beat. We do that because we're not playing that middle rhythm, and because we're playing percussion, we could put a quarter note there, and it's the same as playing an eighth note and an eighth note rest, but this really cleans it up. The quarter note covers the duration of the 2 eighth notes, so there's no rest needed in this, and that's really the whole point. So finally, we do have brackets anyway, so that's going to show you that this is a triplet. There's no doubt we have a triplet. Even though you're only seeing 2 notes, you're supposed to be able to do the math and say, okay, well, we have a quarter note, that's 2 of the eighth notes, then we have 1 eighth note, that's the 3rd eighth note, that's the whole triplet. And you're going to see this rhythm a lot in jazz and shuffle rhythm notation, especially at the beginning levels of those, because they'll write them as triplets. A little bit later, they'll use what are called swing eighths, and I can do a video on swing eighths to explain that another time. But especially, at beginner stages, you'll see a lot of jazz and things written using this specific rhythm. All right, so that is it for eighth note triplets and rests. So to recap, we've covered what they look like, what they sound like, how they're counted. We've also learned a few words with 3 syllables to help us get used to the flow, like unicorn or Mexico, right? We can practice those away from the drums just to keep a nice steady flow happening. Triplet rests, we've talked about those because where we have beats with sound, we have beats with no sound. We need to account for that. And of course, finally, you can get that free PDF at my website. It's christianjohnsondrums.com. It covers the exercise for this lesson as well as the exercises for the future triplets lesson. So if you get them now, you'll have that sneak peek of what's to come. So remember to like, subscribe, ring the little bell to keep up with the rest of the rhythm and reading series. Like I mentioned, I have a few more videos on triplets to do, and then we're going to get into more advanced rhythms. We're kind of getting over that hump of the basics. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.